How y'all doing? Gabriel here, part of the Getting Fit with Gabriel website. And today we're going to bring you the ENDURO 076 home workout program. And what we're going to do is it's featuring Daisy, and she's going to take you through some of these exercises, and it's going to be narrated by myself. So we're going to go through each individual exercises, allow you a little time to kind of slowly grow into each one of them, get comfortable with them, and then we'll do 10 minutes of a faster pace, kind of an upper level portion of the workout. So be sure to check in, that way you can reap some of the rewards if you're a fitness immersion member, and we'll go ahead and get started. So just a little bit of background with Daisy. She is 54 years old, and she's lost a little bit more than 100 pounds, doing very good, and she's working on fully transforming her physique, and she's done a fantastic job so far. And she started with home-based workouts also, and now she works 6 days a week in a gym, and she also does aqua aerobics, and she also does like insanity workouts and other gym classes. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll take you through the first 10 minutes of the workout, and we'll be narrating all that so you can see exactly how each exercise is done. And we're going to go ahead and go from there. 10 minutes of advanced exercise afterwards. So the exercise equipment you'll need: 5-pound dumbbells, 8 or 10-pound dumbbells, and some resistance bands. So the first exercise that Daisy is performing is called a side lateral and a front raise. What you do is you alternate these. These ones are going to work the medial deltoids, the anterior deltoids, or basically your shoulder. Also going to work a little bit of your trapezius muscle, which is in the back, upper shoulder girdle, and the trapezius muscles give that nice definition just up top, your upper back. Now what Daisy is doing is she's gently raising and then lowering before she starts the next movement. Very important for making sure the shoulder is safe and for making sure the exercise is done properly, which the two obviously go hand in hand. This is an enduro workout. As you can see, after about 20 repetitions, which is about what you want to do, 20 repetitions, she's starting to get a little bit tired. So definitely want to hang in there. Make sure to breathe out during the hardest part of the lift and in during the easiest part of the lift. That's how you want to breathe properly. Next movement now, what she's doing is she's alternating to a body weight squat, and another one where you want to do 20 repetitions. And you notice her stance. It's not narrow, it's not super wide, it's just a little bit more than shoulder width. This is key, not just for balance, but also for integrating an equal displacement of muscle groups. Your quadriceps, your gluteals, your hamstrings. There she is checking her Fitbit. So technology, right? Everyone's hooked. And basically her toes are pointed out, which is kind of a natural stance. And what that does is it takes strain off of the knees and off of the hips as well as the ankles. And there she is jumping around because she's got lots of energy, lots of endurance. The next exercise that she wants to jump to is a shoulder press. The shoulder press is like the side laterals, like the front raise, except it's also going to be incorporating the triceps. So that's the back part of the arm that's a little shaky, or I should say can get a little bit shaky from time to time. It's not tightened up. So the shoulder press, you want to make sure you go with increase your width on the bottom part of the movement and decrease the width or the distance between the dumbbells, the top part of the movement. This is an exercise where, granted, you'll be doing 20 repetitions, but you don't want to go too fast. If you go too fast, it becomes improper, and you put unnecessary stress on the connective tissue as well as the small exercise groups. This one is small muscle groups in the shoulder. This one is called the modified jumping jack, and instead of going down or up and apart, you're going straight up like this, moving the feet in kind of a stationary run sort of type of movement. And excellent exercise for getting the heart rate up, getting the heart rate going. So not really 20 repetitions, we're just doing a total of 60 seconds on this one, just enough to get the heart rate up. And you can tell right there, Daisy's kind of dying because obviously it gets the heart rate going pretty well. You need to take a break when you're doing any of these heart rate activities. Take a break, you know. Daisy goes right into a lunge. Now, if you had any issues with your knees, they hurt, you've ever had a knee surgery, any type of formal injury, you want to be very careful with lunges or avoid them altogether. If you can't do a lunge, you can always do a body weight squat. Different exercise, but it's going to accomplish a very similar thing. So the lunges, if you notice, she keeps the foot totally flat and she is pushing off with her heel. What this does, it helps protect the patella or the kneecap. It helps protect the connective tissue in and around the knee. Now, what she's doing is she's doing 5 to both sides rather, and then switching her side. So this is proper technique. You're just going to evenly wear out the quadriceps, the gluteal muscle groups. Back row. Here she's taking some 10-pound dumbbells, leaning forward, keeping the back flat, and this one is working latissimus dorsi, or the upper part of the back. Now this particular exercise, you don't want to go too fast, too slow obviously. You want to keep a nice even tempo, and what it does, it helps tighten and tone the V shape of the upper back, the upper torso. It gives you a real nice taper, and also works a little bit of the bicep, the posterior, or the rear part of your shoulder, the rear deltoid, posterior deltoid. At this point, because we've gone from a cardiovascular movement to more of a strength training type movement, we're still doing the 20 repetitions. The reality is she's getting a little bit tired here. So what she does is she goes from a back row right into the weighted squat. Now this is fun because the initial body weight squat sort of pre-fatigued the legs, and so moving into the resistance squat, that is where you're doing, the dumbbells obviously, it's going to make it that much more difficult to achieve. Moving to the band. Now with this particular band, what she's doing is called a side step. And what this does is the band adds resistance when you're stepping to the side and never fully extending from that squat position. Now in doing so, what's happening here is keeping tension on the quadriceps, keeping tension on the glutes, the hamstrings, and just help tone and create a little bit better endurance for the overall lower body. It's kind of a long set, so it does involve toning. However, the reality is it's going to involve a lot more endurance, because she's going to take about 20 repetitions to get from one side or the other. Now, let's say you're doing this in the living room, you don't have the opportunity to go that far, laterally. That's okay. You can go back and forth multiple times. That way you get your repetitions in, somewhere around 40 reps. After she's done with her side step, she goes right into a curl with the bands. Now this is really good because you can use light bands, you can use heavier bands, you could add bands to the exercise, you can even use dumbbells if you'd like. We recommend bands for this one because during the last toner video, we used the dumbbells, and the dumbbells are good for a little extra strength, so this is more endurance, so there's a lot of repetitions involved. She's actually going to another cardio movement now. Now, you've heard of mountain climbers before, where you're doing them on the floor, hands flat, and it's quite a bit of work. What Daisy is first doing is the modified version, where she's using a chair for stability, keeps her off the floor by about 2 or 3 feet. I should say 3 feet, more closer to 2 feet. And what this does, it makes it a little bit easier to complete the overall movement. Now, this is sort of a pre-fatigue or a warm-up. She's actually going to jump to a full-blown mountain climber in just a second here, and she's really going to be hurting it up right here. So it's getting the heart rate going. With any of the exercises, if you're doing this endurance phase and you feel like you need a little bit of a break, your heart rate's cranking, take the break. Don't work through it. You don't want to set it up to where you might feel lightheaded, you may feel dizzy. You don't want to go that point. I know I said, no pain, no gain. I say it all the time myself. But the reality is, I tell all my clients, if it's too much, scale it back. Let me know if it's too much. You don't want to have an episode of hypoglycemia, even if it's acute hypoglycemia, where you don't feel well, you get nauseous, maybe even throw up. You don't want to go that far. So Daisy's feeling it right there. So she takes a little break, then she gets her band, and she's doing exercises for the hip abductors and adductors. What she does, she holds some tension there, and then she pushes it out. Okay, this is going to get a little bit more of the glutes, as well as your small hip flexor muscles, and obviously work on balance. Now with this exercise, if working with the bands is too difficult, just use body weight. Body weight's going to do a whole lot of good for you, and it's also going to help work those muscles. So you want to do about 20 repetitions to one side and then switch to the other side. If you can't do a full 20 on one side then the other side, it's okay to do 8 on one side and the other side, 10 on one side, 5, whatever you can manage until you can make the full 20 repetitions. It's never a problem to just go ahead and what I should say is modify accordingly. So never a problem. Burpees. Awesome exercise for getting the heart rate up. Pretty much everybody's done these before. Remember from back in the day, like physical education class. Never super fun, but a little bit easier if using the chair. So what this does, it helps make the movement a little bit easier to complete, because you're cutting the distance between a standing position and a full-blown position on the floor. You're cutting the position down by about 2 feet. Until now, she transitions to a full-blown burpee. Now what this does, she's pre-fatiguing with that chair, so these ones are about 25-35% more difficult. Now if she's able to do these and you're just a beginner, you're not able to do these, continue using the chair. You don't want to do something where you can't complete it or it's too difficult, or you run the risk of injury or of overexerting yourself. You want to make sure you can do it in its entirety. Now we're actually approaching the cool down portion of this exercise segment, so she's jumping to the plank. Now with the plank, what this does is it keeps tension on the abdominal muscle group, more specifically the rectus abdominis in the front, and essentially helps strengthen up the total core. The back is also involved, and you want to make sure that if you're feeling it too much in your back, discontinue, put one knee down, whatever it takes to make it just a little bit easier. Daisy's an advanced individual, so she's going to be able to crank out a 90-second plank, no difficulty, no problem, and eventually she's going to transition to the plank with a leg tuck. Now what the plank with a leg tuck does is it incorporates your rectus abdominis, which is the front part of your abs, as well as the obliques, which are on the side of your abdominal wall. So basically it makes it more tough. Now if she's pre-fatiguing with the initial plank and making the rectus abdominis tired, the obliques really have to work it, so it just increases intensity. That is essentially the first portion, the 10 minutes, and what it was designed to do is you can take a cool down now, give yourself a little bit of break, give yourself some water, and then we're going to run into another 10 minutes of workout. It's going to be a little bit faster pace, significantly less rest. You want to get your heart rate going, and it's going to go ahead and complete the workout. So if you need to, rewind it, watch it again, or just move to the next portion where you're really getting the heart rate up and you're getting the need for the endurance up, just like the term enduro requires a little bit more endurance. So enjoy it.